There was a time when the smell of a warm bakery roll could stop you in your tracks, when a paper-wrapped panino, still breathing steam, felt like a small miracle in your hands. There was a time when lunches were not apps and orders, but encounters. A nod to the baker, a wink from the barista, a question that needed no answer. Con tutto? And the day suddenly tasted better. Before we bite into those memories together, take a moment to subscribe to The Italy We Remember. Each week we bring back the sounds, flavors, and small rituals that kept Italy's heart beating. And if a sandwich from your childhood still lives in your mind, we want to hear it. Send your story or photo to stories@ItalyWeRemember.com. Your memory could become part of our next video. Tonight's journey is simple. 25 Italian sandwiches you'll never taste again exactly as they were. Because the ovens changed, the streets changed, or we did. We'll rediscover the breads, fillings, and unspoken rules of an everyday art that carried a country from hunger to hope. And along the way, we'll open a few paper packages time forgot. Here's the promise. Inside these short stories, you'll meet sandwiches made with patience, not packaging, with leftovers turned holy, with sounds and smells that no machine can replicate. Some still exist in places, yes, but the version you're about to remember, the exact bread, the exact hand that built it, the exact corner where you ate it, lives only in memory. That's why we're here. Picture a bar in 1962. The counter is wood, the espresso cups are thick, the air is a blend of coffee, citrus peel, and warm bread. A boy lifts on his toes to watch a rosetta roll split open with a quick, practiced cut. A girl counts coins in her palm. A man in a narrow tie says, "Fai tu." Make what you think is right. That trust, between hands and hunger, was the secret ingredient. Post-war Italy learned to turn little into enough. Bakeries became neighborhood clocks, dawn at the forno, noon at the bar, evening at the alimentari. Bread shapes spoke dialect, rosette that shattered like porcelain, filoni with deep valleys, mafalda that curled like smiles, fragrant miche that seemed to breathe. The fillings followed the seasons and the wallet. Yesterday's roast reborn as glory, a slice of frittata tucked between warm crumb, a spoon of sauce that refused to be wasted. The truest genius was thrifty and delicious. So let's unwrap them. 25 paper parcels from a country that fed itself on invention. The rosetta with mortadella, thin as hymn paper and folded like a ribbon, its airy crumb exploding under the first bite. Pane pomodoro in summer, tomato crushed with oil and salt into the bread until it glowed. Panelle in Palermo, chickpea fritters laid inside a sesame bun with a squeeze of lemon. It still exists, yes, but the street that gave it rhythm has changed its music. Pani meusa, spleen simmered into tenderness with caciocavallo snowing on top. Nothing else tastes like courage quite the same way. Lampredotto in Florence, bread baptized in broth before the treat arrives, green sauce waking the soul, surviving but rarely made with the patience of the old carts. A tramezzino triangle built like a whisper, crusts removed, mayonnaise that tasted of lemon and care. The pane con frittata, potato-rich and peppery, eaten standing against a sun-warmed wall after school. The schiacciata split like a book and filled with prosciutto that left a salty bloom on the lips. The pane con casu of Sardinia, melted cheese sealed between flatbread folded against a shepherd's pocket. The pane caffone with pepperoni arrostiti, sweet and smoky ribbons under a drizzle of oil. Ciabatta with tonno e carciofini, the brine, the artichoke sigh. The michetta with cotoletta, the crunch meeting the hollow crumb like a match meeting a fuse. Pane e acciughe, anchovies glistening like dark silver truths between oil-kissed bread. Rosettes stuffed with vitello tonnato on Monday from Sunday's roast. And pane zucchero, a memory masquerading as dessert. A brush of milk, a snowfall of sugar, and the certainty that childhood was edible. There were the street corner inventions too. Pizza bianca slathered with stracchino, a cloud between two heavens, the roll packed with peperonata that warmed your hands in winter. A panino of lesso rifatto, boiled beef reborn with onions and tomatoes and pride. Pane con caponata on a hot day, sweet sour music between sesame seeds. The trinacria of summer evenings, bread, tomato, oregano, plus a wind you could taste. One boy remembers finding a coin, then spending it on a panino con alicia burro, the butter softening the anchovy song until it sounded like an embrace. One girl remembers the barista pressing her green olive into a tramezzino like a signature. One grandfather, long retired, still swears the best sandwich he ever ate was not at a restaurant, but at a work site at dawn. A wedge of pane casareccio and a cold frittata, both perfect because the day was young and the hunger honest. Why do these sandwiches matter? Because they stitch together a living culture of bread and time. They taught us that food doesn't need to be complicated to be complete, that the hand matters, that the bread is not a container but a collaborator. They marked class without insulting it. The worker's panino with potatoes and peppers had its own glory. The office clerk's tramezzino, its own quiet elegance. Sundays could be roast-filled splendor. Tuesdays could be tomato and oil. Both were home. How many of these details have we overlooked? The way bakers listened to dough with their fingertips. The way the first cut into a rosetta was a sound, a tiny snowfall. The way paper cracked under the pressure of heat and steam. The way the word abondant meant I see you. The way a bar counter at noon could feel like a village square. What disappeared wasn't only a recipe, it was a choreography of gestures. If there's a climax to a story about sandwiches, it's this: we never ate alone. Even when you stood by yourself outside a bar, the world was with you. The city, the season, the hands at the forno. The field where the wheat began. A good panino made the moment honest. It asked nothing more of you than attention, and then gave you back the taste of belonging. And when the world sped up, when plastic wrapped what paper once warmed, when mayo arrived in bottles that knew no lemon, when bread became immortal and therefore flavorless, something slipped quietly out the door. We still eat, yes, but do we arrive? We scroll while chewing. We walk while swallowing. We forget to name the thing that fed us. The past isn't pristine. Not every bakery was a temple, not every midday a poem, but the habit of treating bread like a conversation is worth rescuing. How? Start with what you have. Roast peppers on a flame and lay them still warm in a roll. Fold last night's omelet into bread and take it outside. Mash tomato with salt in your palm, then press it into crumb and wait a minute. The way your aunt did without knowing she was a genius. Ask your baker for the shape that breaks clean and sings when you press it. Choose a place to stand in the sun. That's all. We won't taste those 25 sandwiches exactly as they were because we can't step onto the same street twice. But we can taste what they meant. Thrift turned into beauty. Time turned into flavor. Paper turning to memory as you tear it. In the end, a panino is not an object. It's a brief ceremony. You open, you breathe, you pause, you begin again. Tell us what we missed, which roll, which filling, which corner. Did your nonna make a sandwich from yesterday's stew? Did your father pack lampredotto in broth-soaked bread after a night shift? Did your school bar serve a tramezzino that tasted like summer? Share your memory in the comments or write to stories@italywe'remember.com with a photo if you can. We'll feature the best in a future episode, so the paper never stops rustling. If this felt like lunch with an old friend, subscribe to the Italy We Remember and pass this video to someone who once ate standing at a counter, eyes closed for the first bite. Next time, we'll open another paper package from the past, perhaps the street snacks that powered Italian summers, or the breakfasts that made mornings smell like coffee and sun. Until then, may your bread crack like a bell, and may your day taste like home.